Hello everyone, Robert Saunders here again. Let's talk about a node addition now to a cluster that we already deployed with a blueprint end to end. We deployed a VMware or vSphere cluster, and now I would like to add a node. I need to add more nodes to my cluster for whatever workloads require that type of utilization or that type of node addition. So let's take a look at this. Starting at the initial Dell Automation, again, platform portal, we can drill into this power edge here. We see we have 4 that are ready for provisioning, but I'm probably going to use this H0P service tag. There it is right there. I want to add this power edge to an existing vSphere cluster. So let's see how easy we do that with a blueprint. So from the portal, I'm going to jump off to the orchestrator, and now I see that same service tag filtering on the free pool up there on the top right. That's the service tag that I'm going to add using a blueprint to my existing vSphere cluster. This is super easy to do. And again, if you caught the previous video there, we talk about the high-level offer blueprints that are here. Now I have some more blueprints loaded. I've got some Red Hat ones coming in there, more videos coming on that topic. But that's not why we're here today. Today we're going to add that, we're going to use that blueprint that I have highlighted right there, VMware Node Addition. So I'm going to check that box, and I'm going to click deploy. And again, the usual parameters here that are required for a blueprint. And I also have this pre-configured with a JSON file that I'm going to browse over to real quick and just open it up and populate the data. Super easy. So I can check it all before I even get to this point to make sure everything is perfect. I can also check in these JSONs and keep a record of them. And of course, the orchestrator also does the same thing. Again, as I mentioned in previous videos, if you have to do an edit in this GUI right here, you absolutely can. You can change whatever you need to. And then here's the same JSON, a little bit smaller than what we had before. It's only talking about one node now, and it's using the existing power store connection that's out to using the iSCSI initiators and then connect it over to the power store. That's already done, so we don't need to do that again. We just need to make sure this node is utilizing that data store, which it will be. So I click deploy, and now I'm going to go to installing, and we see kind of a different execution graph here, look, but it's doing some similar steps. It's repaving the BIOS and firmware that we need for this type of deployment against that power edge node. And again, I fast forward this a little bit here, 23 steps. So it does move through here pretty quick, but there's the BIOS and firmware updating. We can look at this through the iDRAC console view if we'd like to. So let's take a look here. Again, there's the BIOS and firmware resetting correctly. And then over on to the ESXi deployment, first loading and then installing. Everybody's familiar with seeing that. Imaging started. I fast forward this again. It doesn't take too terribly long. Secure boot re-enabled. One more boot, and then we are pretty much done here. All done. Now we need to add this node to the existing cluster, and we've given that credentials or those credentials as parameters from the JSON or however you'd like to do that. So let's jump over to vSphere now, and we see on the top left we have 4, 5, and 6, 3 ESXi nodes. We're going to add another one. Boom, there it is, ESXi 07. It's added in there. Now we need to actually pull it over to the cluster. There it goes. Now we have 4 as part of the cluster. Yes, some of the alarming goes on here. That's all standard stuff. We fix it. It heals itself as this remediation continues the deployment. Boom. There it is, another host on the power store, also perfect. And just a few more steps here we have before this finishes up. Little final remediation here against the cluster. And then some cleanup at the very end. And this will pull itself in. And then we're going to have actually 4 nodes in the cluster. I didn't do anything else but opened up a blueprint and gave it some parameters, and it's all taken care of. You see it goes into maintenance mode there for a second. Again, that's the Dell Private Cloud pulling this node into its purview. Everything by design. So once the maintenance mode is done, then this node can now start accepting workloads. Super easy and super powerful. So this will change here in a second from 3 to 4 from the physical view here. I keep refreshing my screen. It comes out of maintenance mode. and now it is added to the Dell Private Cloud. There it is. We've got 4 there now, and then some final cleanup. I go back to the orchestrator, and now I see that same node that's listed inside the cluster from the orchestrator view inside the cluster. It's there and attached and provisioned as part of this VMware environment. More coming on some videos here as we go through this entire series. There's a lot more things that I can do. I can remove and repurpose nodes, all part of the beauty of what we can do with the Dell Automation Platform. And then I look over here at the portal view. I also see that same service tag, the H0, is now provisioned. So it is being used for a workload. Awesome to see. Everything's in sync. Thanks to everyone for watching. I do appreciate it.